Welcome to another mini episode of The Hiring Manager, and I'm bringing back a longtime friend and guest. Yes, he joined us in the early stages. John Todd, otherwise known as JT. Welcome. You're back again.
Fonger, it's a privilege to be back again.
People just get so much insight from you. And today we're going to talk about my probably number one favorite thing. I don't know. You might not think I'm very successful at it, but networking. Tell students, graduates, people that are looking for a job, the value and the importance of networking.
I believe networking is probably the most important thing you have in sales, because people always say closing is the more important aspect of sales. I believe gaining leads and having appointments, qualified appointments, is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, it's a numbers game, and qualified appointments come from what I call trusted advisors.
All right, stop right there, because people that are listening, they might not even want to go in sales. So I want you to be more broad thinking, networking in any type of employment, any type of career, correct? It doesn't have to be networking for that sales position. I'm talking about networking to get that next job.
Every person you meet and talk to in your life is someone that could potentially lead you in a different relationship, in a career. So I think it's important to meet and make great impressions on as many people as you can, because you never know when you'll need that relationship.
And I talk to my daughters about this all the time, and no, they're not graduated from college yet and getting jobs, but they understand the value of networking, and it's from start to finish. Even if you know you're not going to take that job, but maybe string that job along, string that hiring manager along, just to have that network for the future. Correct?
Absolutely. I mean, you're constantly networking through college. If you're someone that's going to college right now, your friends' parents could be really big influencers out there for you. They could lead you into internships where you can network. There's a lot of different opportunities there for you.
Speaking of college, people that aren't at that graduating stage yet, LinkedIn, I'm seeing probably in the last year, maybe even more college students trying to accept and friend me from the college level.
I think it's really important when you start doing interviewing to have a LinkedIn, because I think it shows that you're starting to get into the professional career. You're not on social media that's just for fun anymore, such as Instagram and everything like that. You've taken that next step in your career, which is LinkedIn, and that's the professional social media. And I think that shows you've taken that gone to the next level.
What are you looking for when you browse somebody's social media, LinkedIn specifically, when you're trying to recruit and hire?
I'm looking for someone that's had consistency. I understand there's always career moves you're going to make, but I look for career moves where individual made a move for a reason, and it was the next step in their career. They weren't making a move because they were forced to make a move. They were making a move of their own will to go to that next level.
When you interview, you've hired over 200 people in your career. You fired a lot as well. What has stood out and that you can help maybe someone listening to this podcast for the interviewing process? What separates a candidate and what really stands out?
I think number one is being prepared when you walk in the door, having great questions prepared that you ask all the way through, open-ended questions, not just yes or no, but open-ended questions to the person that's interviewing you. And then number two, you got to bring a high energy, a high level of energy, and you got to show that desire to succeed. And there's different ways to do that, but you got to show you are ready to go and you will do whatever it takes to succeed. And that's where you have to bring that across.
So give me an example. Give me an example of a well thought out question in general for any type of employment.
So I would, for a question, I would like, if I was interviewing with Michael right now, Michael, for the position I'm interviewing for, walk me through, who's your top performer, Michael, right now?
Top performer? Am I a sales manager?
Yes, you are.
My top performer is a gentleman named John Todd.
Okay. Well, walk me through what John Todd does and give me the three things he does you believe that make him the number one producer on your team.
He's a hard worker. He comes to the office, and let me give you an example of that. He comes to the office very early. He's very prepared. He's always having his notes. He does pre-sales qualifying questions, and then he arrives to the appointment maybe 15 minutes early and visualizes his success in his appointment, and then always follows up. He follows up the meeting with not only an email, but maybe a little thank you personal letter to the business.
Okay. Does John Todd always meet his KPIs each and every week? Is he consistent meeting his KPIs, whatever those might be? And
for those that are listening, you might want to tell people.
Key performance indicators. It's just different. It's different aspects of your job that you need to hit every week, different measurements that you need to meet every week, especially in sales and marketing.
So, yes.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So well thought out questions. What about from a candidate? Candidate asking the employer, what kind of questions should that candidate be asking an employer to maybe separate themselves?
I think you learn what they're looking for by asking a lot of open-ended questions, like what would be your ideal candidate? What people have you interviewed in the past that have been successful at this different
Good
at
questions.
this job? Different things like that. Ask questions so you understand, and don't be scared to ask 3 or 4 questions. You get a better understanding of it. And you can even admit, sometimes it's good to admit when you're nervous about something. I think I'd be really good at these 3 things, but I would need some assistance at the 4th thing. And I think honesty is always respected.
What's been one of like your worst interviews? Someone that just, you said no right away and that you can maybe help give some advice to someone listening. What steers you the wrong way?
When you ask, I think the most important thing is come in prepared. And when you come in and you ask someone, what their quote is, what they sold last year, especially in sales, once again, and they don't have the numbers, even they don't understand even their own numbers and what percentage of quota they are, they need to understand what's made them successful, the different stats they have this year and in past years, and different awards. They need to understand those things and be able to, to communicate why they've been successful and why you'd want to hire them here.
Now, when you're following up, it's the end of the day, end of the interview. Let's talk about the follow-up process. Do you see a lot of personal touch out there today? If not, what could a candidate be doing to separate themselves in following up?
I think the most important thing probably right now in today's world, since most people are virtual, is number one is really close for that next opportunity. It's difficult to send thank you letters now. You don't know where people sit. A lot of people work from home. That's very difficult. So you could follow up with a nice email. But I think when you have that opportunity to close for that next step in the interviewing process, you have to take advantage of it and do it.
And one more thing before we wrap up. I love the elevator pitch. I don't even know if you call it an elevator pitch now. Talk to me about the elevator pitch and the value and the importance of that.
I think when you come in the door and you're speaking to someone, you need to be able to define 3 aspects of what you're presenting that will grab their interest so they want to listen to you. So for instance, when I meet with people now, I meet with Michael Fong, and I want to share with him the company I work with, why he'd want to work with me. Michael Fong is a benefit broker. There's 3 things, Michael, I'm going to share with you today, just really quickly so you have a big picture understanding where we're going. Number 1, we all understand that payroll, time and attendance, that's just a commodity now. I understand that. We have a product that's built for mid to small companies. It works. That's all you need to know. The real reason you want to meet with me is 2 reasons. 1, for us right now, is the employee retention tax credits. And 2 is HR services, which is all about helping clients stay compliant. And we all know in certain states, such as California, New York, compliance is a number 1 word right now. Businesses, all the different rules that are happening have to stay compliant, and we have a solution for those businesses that is a great fit from a 5-employee company to a 50 to 100-employee company.
And final words, if there's one piece of advice that you can give, you've been on the podcast before, you've given some great advice. What would you give someone listening today, some additional thoughts about just the interviewing, the recruiting process of the next step in their career?
The most important thing is have a story to tell about yourself that makes sense. Have a story from point A to point B to point C to where you are now. And the story is all about growth and successes you've had.
There you go. Another episode with JT John Todd, very successful sales leader for over 30 years. My good friend who's giving great advice to these young college grads looking for the next step. Again, brought to you by Marketing Marcy, the hiring manager, brought to you by Marketing Marcy. If you need updates on your resume, cover letter, look her up on Instagram. Very cost effective. For another episode of The Hiring Manager, Fonger News, out.